Okie dokie. Hello, once again. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Kinky Office Hours. Wow, walk. The cows are going wild for Kinky Office Hours every Tuesday, coming to you, a local YouTube channel called mine at soulkink.com. Hello, Brian S. Once again. Brian S., you seem to be a super fan, aren't you? You're just all over the place. Well, good to see you. Woo, going wild. Yep. Good to see you again, Brian S. We're gonna wait a few minutes while people start just piling into this room. So again, Kinky Office Hours coming to you direct from wherever the fuck I am at Soul Kink, my YouTube channel, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Time and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris Rankin. Hey. We're just gonna give it like a couple of minutes. Let's say like 4 minutes. So entertain yourselves, play with your peepees, and but today is very exciting because we have a guest onto Kinky Office Hours. We have a guest, ladies and gentlemen. So the guest is, I'm not going to tell you yet. It's special. I'm not going to tell you. I'll wait until 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes. 6:05, ladies and gentlemen. And let's kid it. Who are we kidding? Mostly gentlemen, all gentlemen. I know you all are gentlemen. But yeah. So we're just gonna twiddle our thumbs. Oh my god, more people. Thank you. We've just doubled the amount of people in the Kinky Office Hours in the last second. Wow, this is unprecedented. Unprecedented numbers, people. Unprecedented. Never before seen have we seen this many people in the Kinky Office Hours. Okay, I'm going to give 1 or 2 more minutes. So people, if you're in here, you are now caged in. You are not allowed to leave. Imagine I just pulled you by a chain. I know you all love this. I'll pull you into the chain and now you're in a cage. I've shut the door. You are not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to leave this YouTube experience until we are done, until I say so. Okay? So, because I'm waiting another 2 minutes before I announce the guest today. Today on Kinky Office. So I'm just going to continue repeating myself just on the off chance that more people will come. Who knows? We could get billions, millions, millions and millions of kinky folk in here in the next couple of minutes. And I just would not want them to miss out on the rare opportunity that is being introduced. If you build it, they will come. That is what I'm trying to do, Brian S. I am trying to build it so they will fucking come. And also, get it? They're gonna fucking come. But also super newbie to the lifestyle. Congrats, Marion. Wow, this is exciting. I'm curious if Marion identifies as what gender Marion identifies as. Because most of the folks in here identify as male. That is my assumption. Oh, thank you, Marion. Thank you, Marion. We got a female identified person in here. That is quite exciting. Okay, literally 1 minute more, and then I'm going to announce who the guest is. The secret surprise guest is. Secret, super top secret guest, secret. 4. Okay, it's 6:05. So, are you ready? Okay, so today on Kinky Office Hours, this is our third Kinky Office Hours where I basically just fuck around and say whatever I want to say. But today, we have my partner of almost 4 years. Jeff. Jeff is joining us today because one of the reasons why I thought it would be so great to have Jeff on is because we use conscious kink, intentional therapeutic kink in our relationship weekly, daily, all the time. It is how we move energy. It is how we have devotional sacred practices, a weekly devotional sacred practice. We and the idea is all we are deeply securely attached. For those of you who know what secure attachment is, um, but he is my companion in this realm, and I thought it would be really special to be able to talk and hear it also from a male identified perspective for those of you in relationships. So without further ado, da 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 da, and I'm just going to scooch over. All right, this camera doesn't know what to do with this.
It rightly is centering Emily.
Okay, but you're gonna have to talk into welcome. This is my partner, Jeffrey. Let's do no tracking. So can you squish in? Oh, is it gonna? No, yeah, that kind of works.
That kind of works.
Okay. Welcome, Jeffrey. Hold on. Woo. I don't think it can. It will. I don't think we can.
I'm over here.
There. Well, I'm just trying to get it to not track.
I think we're.
Oh, sport.
I think you got it.
Okay, great. Okay. I wish we could get you in the middle, but I don't think we could do that. Boop, boop. Okay. So just talking to here. So welcome. This is my partner, Jeffrey. We have been together for thank you. Almost 4 years now. We are basically the same age. So if you're curious what age we are the same age. No, we are 22 years apart and we've been together for 4 years. So I thought it would be helpful for everyone to hear a little bit about what that means. So I'm actually going to hand it over to Jeffrey and for him to share a little bit about. He looks so skeptical. Okay, so Jeff is clearly not the extrovert in this relationship, but he is going to talk a little bit about. I love that I could say anything and just completely put you on the spot. His journey into conscious kink. I'm curious if you feel comfortable with that.
I think we can work our way
into what's comfortable,
into something that will be comfortable.
Because I've been kinky for fucking forever. I mean, like literally, I came out the womb just not giving a shit and like going towards taboo things. My background's in abortion care, like birth care, like all things taboo, specifically about reproductive and sexual health. I've just been out loud and proud. Jeffrey, however, has had a very different experience. Also, for the folks who are in this chat with us today, please, if you have questions, please engage with us. We'd love to hear your voice. Please put them in the chat so we can have more of a discussion. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the thing is that I had a previous extremely vanilla, very ordinary life, and then after my divorce, Emily and I came together, and specifically what I thought it was around kink, and I would say in my mind had nothing to do with consciousness or any therapeutic nature or anything like that. And what happened was that we got into a dynamic where Emily would suggest some really wild and crazy workshops and things to do, and then my job was to go, fuck yeah, I could try that. And somewhere through that whole process, we started realizing that, like, oh, there's actually there's two things. One is there's something much deeper between us that can come out through playing with power dynamics and playing with creatures and characters and bringing those out. And then I would say the other piece is that for me really to fully meet any partner, I needed to work on my own stuff. And so actually really diving into the things I was ashamed of and coming clean with those and getting to be much more comfortable with where my shame is and things I was embarrassed about or things I struggled to really own. And actually even just find my desires. I was certainly one with, I think it's pretty typical of a lot of men, but certainly for me, it was a thing of like, not only was I not comfortable expressing my desires, it was really hard to find them even. And so just a lot of work to unearth those and then learn to play with them.
Yeah, so um when we first met, I desired a relationship that was devoted to kink. And it's because I had just come out of a long-term relationship where we did not prioritize our sexuality. And because by the end of the relationship, we had been together for 4 years. By the end of the relationship, um, it was really painful because we did not click. And so I knew that I need two things. I need a relationship that is centers their sexual connection and intimacy as number one. And two, well, actually, number one would be the second thing. And then the number one thing is that both of us are dedicated and love working on the project of the relationship. So, like, constantly, how can we go deeper? How can we explore? How can we use our relationship as the muse to our own highest purpose and self? Because if you have that, then like anything is possible because you both are are into the laboratory of the relationship. So Brian asks, if you're comfortable sharing, have you all had to deal with distance slash separation and reintegration in your relationship? Yeah,
Yeah, Bali.
I guess so. Yeah. So I went to about 2 years ago. I was like, I need to go find myself. And what it was is I need to go find my feminine, my divine feminine, or what you could say is the energy of receptivity, or you could say is the energy of submission, because it was really hard for me to surrender, and I wanted to explore, and I just knew that I had to get away from my work. I had to get away from everything. So I shut down my business. I stopped taking clients and I went to Bali for 2 months. And I would say right before then, we did a couple of really powerful retreats. We're kind of retreat addicts. We go to just like a million different workshop retreats and things where we explore stuff and break ourselves open, our hearts and our souls. Um, but um, but yeah, so we were apart for only like 2 months. So it's not a regular we've never experienced like long distance, but during that 2 months, I was like off, and we're non-monogamous, so I was off having my own adventures. And I let him know during that time. I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen when I come back. Like, we're just gonna have to see, but I just need this freedom. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
What did you experience during
And
that?
I think the thing that ended up being a really important stepping stone in our relationship because that was the period of time where I think Emily said she was pursuing her feminine and diving into really being in her flow, and turned out to be the time that I actually really had to learn to hold myself and like dive into my masculine and actually just hold the structure and hold myself. There was leading up to there had been a long time of where I had a little bit of anxious attachment going on, and she was leaving, and I was trying to figure out how to trap her. And she part of this was all she was trying to escape that, and
Oh, and by the way, being trapped is not a kink of mine. Oh, it is a kink of mine.
so
It's
that's not
something that
true.
I don't want. That's what's obviously is like in real life. It's the thing that I want least more than anything else. Like it's my deepest fear, which is why it is actually a kink of mine.
um and so yeah, so I in that time I really I was doing I was in a couple different men's groups at that point and
You gotta come closer to them.
really dove hard into like holding myself and being in my own spine. And so when she came back, I was completely secure and there wasn't that grasp or pull, and I think that's a lot of what allowed when you came back to be like, "Oh, yeah, this is actually
He
pretty
felt
comfortable."
totally different after it.
Yeah.
I'm
So
curious, Brian S., what is your relationship like? What's going on for you?
how distance was.
Yeah, like what's distance how is distance playing out in your relationship? Um but yeah, he felt completely different. He'd gone to men's groups during that time. We also, while we were apart, did a couple of couples counseling sessions. Which during a session I remember saying to him, and I was like, I just don't know if you're ever going to be enough. Which is always the greatest thing every person wants to hear.
It's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Married 15 years, multiple military deployments.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's really hard. I'm curious, what has it been like for you, Brian? Like, what has worked? What's challenging? Yeah, military is also hard because it's like you are really sucked into that experience. It's not like you just have like a 9 to 5. Yeah. And so therefore, like I would say, like for people who are in distance, like having ritualized practices where you come together and actually do practices to deepen and to be in presence. This is feeling growing apart and trying to grow together. Yeah. So with distance, I think that's why it's even more important to install ritual practices into your relationship. So, for example, Jeff and I, so a lot of people think like if we're spending time together, like we're not having a good time, that's enough. But it's actually, you might be spending time together and having a good time, but you're like bowling or watching a movie or doing an activity or even going for a walk. And that's like, yes, companionship, but actually it's you're still pointing outwards. Whereas to create ritual like practices where you're pointed and all of your attention is inward towards the two of you. So we have done a lot of work on this. And so we actually do weekly ceremonies. So every Thursday morning, we have our entire morning blocked off and we do a practice. So what happens is, or do you want to explain what happens?
Actually, why don't you go with that, and then I'm gonna add a little piece, or unless you.
And just make sure you get really close.
Okay.
Can you scooch in here?
I will scooch in.
Okay. So right. So every Thursday morning we have a practice. So what happens is I go off, and we learn this through Justin Pack. Whoa.
You waved your hand.
I don't know what happened.
Now it only likes you again.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure out how to use this fucking camera. Okay. He goes off and does his masculine practice. And so we've worked with a lot of different practitioners and a lot of different healers and tantric folks to understand, and BDSM folks of his version and my version. So he does his masculine practice, and he'll maybe do that for like 20 minutes, 30 go off in my room when I do my feminine practice. And that's to like get me in a state of submission and receptivity, and for him to get him into a state of containment and penetration. And then we say at a certain time, we like, okay, meet in the room at 8:00. And so I also get into lingerie at that time. And he gets into a ceremonial outfit, like sexy. We discovered sexy male lingerie, which such a fucking fan of. Beforehand, he would show up in like ratty boxers. And I'd be like, looked like a goddess, and I'd be like, fuck this. But so anyway, so then we meet in we have a room devoted to our relationship. We call it the ceremony room. We meet in the ceremony room, and then we always start with just gazing into each other's eyes and breathing together. So it's just, in fact, if you want to do this right now.
Thank you, Brian.
What do you say?
He loves my ready.
No, dude. They're like, no, Brian, no, back down. So this is just literally, this is what we do. I mean, we have done this so often over. Yeah. Okay. So. So, I mean, literally, that's all it is. It's literally just eye gazing and breathing together. But because he's holding the masculine, he is actually breathing me. So I try to almost like fit my breaths inside of his breath. But again, for us, we have to do personal practices beforehand to really get into because I'm a badass bitch, right? I like being in control. I'm a dom for a lot of my clients. And so to actually move into a state of surrender it takes a period of transition for me, which can be really challenging. Um, what about your masculine practice?
Yeah, and I think I a lot of my you know sort of entry beliefs are around wanting to be a nice guy, not wanting to take control, not wanting to take up too much space. And so for me to get in a position where I can feel stable and also able to hold any emotion or any of Emily's sort of waves or firestorms that might come up, that a lot of that is for me learning to hold that. And Brian, I think where this is interesting, Emily alluded, we got this practice from Justin Patrick Pierce and London Angel Winters. And one of the things when Emily was traveling, they had a little thing that kind of revolutionized the way I looked at it. Is they said, if you're like on the road, don't have a phone call where you're just like you go, oh, what did I do today? Oh, I did the. I mean, those can be good. It can be useful, but they're like, don't put too much time into that.
It's just wasting time.
Wasting time.
And it's
So
also eroding the preciousness of your time together because you're not actually present with each other.
yeah. So we actually, when she was in Bali, we weren't able to do it every week, but we had frequent practices. There was a voice call or a video call of like, okay,
Oh yeah,
we're
fuck, I forgot
just
about
gonna
that.
breathe together. We're just like stop and breathe. And we were able to do some very sexy practices that were not where we will literally we've done some very sexy practices near each other where we're not allowed to touch each other and they get incredibly hot. Even having a screen in between, it really helped amp up the polarity and the tension between us and not have it just be a, oh, I went to work today. Oh, I had to take out the garbage, whatever.
Because what you're doing, it like this is what our teachers, Justin Patrick Pierce and London Angel Winters, highly recommend also going to check out their work. Um, we integrate a handful of different practitioners' work into our relationship. We kind of cherry pick. So what we do is going to look a little bit different than other people, also because like we integrate kink into our tantric processes, power dynamics, hierarchy, impact play. And specifically conscious kink is just like a big part of our flavor. Um, but what was I going with this? But yeah, so like the idea is that there are three. This is from our teachers. There's three states in relationships. There is when both parties are in their masculine. And so this is both parties are in their consciousness. Um they're in their get shit done, their logic mind. They're in their brains. That's your masculine. That's the energy of the masculine. So when two people are in the masculine, they're in resonance. And that two people in the masculine are like parents. People parent together, like they get you done. Okay, you go there, I go there. They're teammates. They'll write a book together. They just get shit done. But that could be really effective for any certain point, but it's not gonna make you want to fuck each other. Then there's two partners in the feminine. That's like two best friends. It's like because the feminine is the receptive part, but it's also like the sensation and the loving and the best friend quality. That's going to be when you're in resonance in the feminine. And then there's when you're in polarity, which is one is in the masculine and one is the feminine. This is why kink is like an Instapot for polarity. Polarity is when you feel that zing between the two of you and you're like, whoa. So kink is an instapot for polarity because we use in kink use archetypes, specifically when you're going into power dynamic or role play or scene work. You use archetypes to get into like, okay, you're going to be in the masculine and you're going to be in the feminine, or you're going to be in the dom and you're going to be in the sub. But so when you are, if you spend time on a call or spend time in any relationship, especially when you're distance and you don't have a lot of time actually, if you just are going through the monotony or like even like I miss you too, you're in resonance. And my guess is, Brian, that the reason you are feeling like you're growing apart is because you haven't been able to click into polarity probably in quite a long time. And it almost begins polarity is just a muscle. Yeah, of those we're in resonance of two in masculine, two kids in elementary school. So this is another thing from we learned from our teachers is that when a couple have children, a child is a supernova of the feminine, right? A child comes out and they are just like an explosion of the feminine because they don't have any masculine. They just eat shit, feel like cry. They're all feeling, they're all primal needs. So what that does is it like blows both parties into the masculine. So then, of course, you're going to be in the masculine because you guys are, in a war zone 24/7 where you guys are teammates. You guys got to get shit done. You got to raise a freaking baby to eventually one day, hopefully, have a little masculine of their own. So, like, you don't have to take all that masculine on for yourself. I also don't have children. Jeff has 2 adult children, so he has more
I do remember that.
to on this question at all. So, but it makes sense that, of course, you two are in the masculine most of the time, and so therefore, it takes to take the time to actually redevelop the skill, the muscle of polarity. That's what it's all about. It can be crunchy as fuck at first, but if you keep on it and also keep your hearts open to like the exploration and curiosity, like it's a game changer.
Yeah. And I'd want to, I mean, so making that transition, you have to, that's the conscious and conscious kink, right? Is you have to like really say, oh, we're gonna make this transition. And I'd want to emphasize that it doesn't have to be that, oh, the man has to hold. We use the word masculine and feminine. Justin and London used alpha and omega just to get away from that. And obviously in dom sub it can go either direction, but the real point is somebody's got to be the dom and somebody's got to be the sub, and you kind of have to know and make that shift.
And it doesn't. Oh, sorry, my bad, guys. I'm like fucking with shit over here. Babe, stop laughing at me. Oh my god. I was trying to be all okay, technical difficulties. Camera down, bitches. Camera. Boom, we're back.
That was scary.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about our polarity practices. I will also say it is not easy. Okay, so it is not easy to go from a masculine state of being into the feminine, or rather be going from, for me at least, and my guess, Brian, as for your wife too, to go, even if I want it, to go from my normal badass self daily, which runs a business and like, takes care of myself and likes to do things, into a submissive state of being, for me is actually a lot of fucking work. And this is what I literally did when I went and traversed Bali. I was like, I need to find my submissive. I need to find my feminine. And so that is so I just want to say, like, I have a lot of empathy if well, it actually depends. I just made the assumption that maybe your wife would be in the feminine and you would be in the masculine. So really understanding, like, does your wife want to be Like, does she want to be the dom or do you want to be the dom? Does she want to be the sub or you want to be the sub? And really starting, I have a really great video on my YouTube channel called, and it's an exercise of kink list. And so what it is, and we did this on our very first date, no, our second date. So, but what it is it's basically you do it with a partner, you do it separately, but you create a red, green, and yellow column, and you go through all of your kinks. Yeah, does Brian wants to be the sub. Does your partner want to be the dom? Has she ever explored being in a dominant position? Um, but so you Oh, yeah. So, but doing a kink list together. So basically, red, green, and yellow columns. So we did this nearly like 3.5, 4-ish years ago, which is crazy. And we actually just started thinking about redoing it recently. In the green list, you go and you just like think about all the things that turn you. And you could start with your body. So it's just like, oh, I love it when my ears tugged here, or I love it when my inner thigh is slapped, or I love anal, or I love, just like literally let your mind go crazy about all the things in your green list, or I love it when my toe is sucked. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. So Brian says, I asked Brian, does your partner want to be a dom? And she says yes, but not really. She's not really interested. That's very understandable. And I'll talk about that in a second. Then the yellow list is you go in and do all of the things that like, I might be turned on by this, but I've had bad experiences. I don't know, maybe in the different context. So yellow. And then your red, which is I'm really turned off by that. And think about things you like to be called, names, places you like to be touched, and scenarios. Like just go wild. And then you create an intentional meeting spot where the two of you come together. We did it at a pretty he remembers it as a chintzy restaurant. I remember it as a nice restaurant. We come together and and we had a really nice dinner, and then we just shared out our kink links one at a time. But it's important that the other person who's listening actually be writing down what the other person is saying, so that like they are not judging. There's zero judgment here, but they're just writing down and being curious and asking questions. So the whole point is the other person is not allowed to yuck the other person's yum. No yucking,
shame.
no shame, because it's not trying to see how is this person's kinks going to benefit me. It's really just about like, oh, I get the privilege of knowing this person in a deeper way. That's the whole idea. But what then you can do is once you really understand the full gamut of each other's kinks, then you can go through and circle areas that there might be some overlap. The idea is with a partner. We got we got 4 new people on. We're up to 10 people. You guys, we are up to 10 people in the Kinky office hours. This is rule breaking, no, record breaking numbers, people. Record breaking numbers. Thank you for making this. Yeah, thank you for we've lost 2 people. Thank you for making that one moment possible. Yeah, so then the idea is not all of your kinks need to overlap. I know, double did, it's a big deal. Not all your kinks need to overlap. All you have to do is just find the sliver. Find the sliver of the one just subbed. Oh, nice. Very good, Magique family. You just subbed. I love that for you. So, yeah, just find the overlap, the small things that overlap. Did you have something to say?
Well, I think I'm a huge fan of inclusive limits. I mean, I think the 2 things is the other piece is
Inclusive limits?
so you can't use that list. There's 2 pieces. One is, that list isn't a way to like try to coerce the other person to do the thing on your list. It's to find that, area of the Venn diagram that overlaps. And then just play with inclusive limits means you just play with that. Just let's do a thing where we just play in this area we both know we already have some heat, that there's something hot going on there. And then you can work about, okay, how can we expand that out? But I think it's easy to make that mistake of like, oh, I am just set on this one thing on my green and I'm just going to try to figure out a way to get that person to do it.
Okay, so Brian says, I tried to masculine Alpha, and do a yes, no, maybe list and asked her to do the same, but she wasn't willing to do one.
Yeah.
Okay, what is her block? Did you get curious about what it is she's feeling? Is it she's feeling overwhelmed? Is she feeling not inspired? Does she, and the question is, does she want to work on the relationship with you? Does she also feel like you guys are floating apart? Does she feel, and so my question is, my guess is that she feels overwhelmed and it feels like a chore. And so my curiosity is what feels good to her. If a yes, no, maybe list doesn't feel good to her, what feels good to her? What, like, does she enjoy feeling connected with you? There, so because one another thing that our teacher talks about is that you have to build the hearth before you can light the fire. And so building the hearth has to do with, um yeah, building the hearth has to do with clearing out the shit that's built up, the gunk. Most people, this is a phenomenon that I do not understand, which is that, ooh, we can make this brighter. That's nice. Um, I do not understand people in long-term relationships who do not like to raise a baby, to raise a child. A child needs constant tending. Constant, how do you feel? What's wrong? Can I get you something? Like constant tending. The project of raising a child is endless. And then folks do not put even an ounce of that same intention into the health of their intimate relationships. I mean, Jeff can talk about this. He was married for 25 years.
Yeah,
Go forth.
and I think I also like I would not have I was not in a place of in that relationship to share a list like this. I wouldn't have done it. And I think there's two pieces. One is feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and then the other is feeling that it's really going to be safe and like overcoming my own shame about it. And so it took a lot of work to where I could actually I was like, okay, I'm just gonna cut loose and say some things I'm kind of ashamed of. Like, oh yeah, that turns me on. Is that's a really even within a long relationship that can be a risky thing to say. So I think yeah, the two pieces that feel important in that is like yeah, really creating the safe environment and stable environment ahead of time. Just like okay, we're gonna have a night that we're just gonna have romantic time together, and maybe you don't do the list but just sort of set that stability point.
But here's the thing, especially because it sounds like you are the for wanter of recognizing your relationship needs help. My guess is that you are going to be have to be the one who does a little bit more work. So, especially because are in the in the masculine, and especially because it sounds like you are the one who've been deployed, you were the one in the military, you know what I mean? Like you, which is a very masculine entity. My guess is that like creating space for you to hold the masculine for her to surrender. And what I mean by that is maybe maybe the time together is for you to light candles and give her a massage. What are practices that actually feel nourishing and good for her to begin to let down her armor of the masculine? Because my guess is she's a busy lady. She's picking up kids, soccer practice, flute practice, like whatever the fuck, right? And so she is so conditioned away from her feminine, like so conditioned. And my guess is her fantasies might be a place where she surrenders, but she's probably so conditioned away from anything that like feels good in her body. Yeah, see, even you juggling your first grader. Brian S says, "Sorry, juggling my first grader and trying to be present in this space." Also, yeah, do what you got to do, my
Yeah,
friend.
good job.
But also, you can listen to this recording later if it's not super present. And yeah, you're doing a great job. Whatever you're doing, juggling your first grader, as long as you're not actually juggling them and throwing them in the air. Okay. Do you have any things to say on that
I
topic?
think we kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, taking I mean, what's it like for Jeff does this for me all the time. Of he like sets the masculine so that cuz he wants access to my feminine. So Jeff, how what are tools that you support me with getting access to my feminine? And what's your experience been like?
Yeah, I think there's two. Wow. um, this
You
camera.
got a rogue camera friends.
um I think there's things that come up. The one piece is actually just the and it sounds like, Brian, you're doing that perfectly, which is like you're in the work, right, of like, you know, taking care of the kids, setting the. If I move my hands, I think that's part of the issue. That um and we don't have kids, but in our house, I mean, just, making sure that things are running well, and that there are all kinds of things that Emily doesn't have to worry about, is a big piece of that. Just because it's always surprising to me how much. I think what Emily said is right on. Is that the switching for the person who has to switch is actually much more challenging than I ever thought. That going from her being in her alpha and her badass bitch to like, oh, I wanna be in my romantic surrender. It's a lengthy process, and so there's two pieces. One is don't make her be in it more often than she needs to be. Um, but the other big one is setting the space and being pretty firm about, okay, we are gonna, you know, this morning is our temple morning. Actually, um, you know, we both wake up and we feel like, oh, we don't want to do it. It'll be like, no, we're going. We have to do this. We're gonna take our time. And it may end up being where we've had ones where the end of it is we just end up crying, cuddling in a corner. There's all, it may not work out the way we thought it was going to, but the piece is I'm the one whose job it is to make sure that it happens and that there's a structure for it, and that we contain it. And I think, there's this piece, creature inside of me who sometimes go, this isn't fair. God, why do I have to do all the work to plan this and schedule? And it's because this is the dynamic I want. And so since, I'm the one who said I want this dynamic, I got to go do the work. Um, that's the, so that's probably the biggest piece of it that I feel.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. Um, and also, I just want to acknowledge also that Brian, you as the submissive, like I also want to acknowledge that like in this dynamic, he wants to be Dom, right? And he's the masculine, and I historically have wanted to be sub, and I'm in the feminine, so it's sort of a more traditional thing. But what we've
But
actually yeah, what we actually are coming to, like being submissive is not easy for me, which I'm gonna guess it's again like the same with your wife, Brian, that it's not that's not the most natural state for me, even when my fantasies all in that realm. What I've actually come to realize is that my authentic turn on is really about me being in a dom state, but then be having my control being taken away from me. And so I'm actually we come to only recently realize that my erotic, my sincere erotic arousal lies in my dom, but then my dom is forced to surrender. um, but so we're actually beginning to explore more where I begin in the dom and just see what happens. Um,
and I would throw out is just that, no matter which direction that flows, is actually playing in the switch space, the switching roles. Even some, one of the things we've worked a lot on is agility. And sometimes, there'll be this where, yeah, Emily's very much in her dom, and then I can overpower her, or sometimes like, no, I really don't want to. And so then I'll collapse and go under. And there's some people who kind of shit on switches and say, "Oh, you got to pick one or whatever." And I'm just such a huge believer is you can't really. We're complicated humans, and we should try. There's things to be gained out of both expressions, and also it's just you have to play with these things to even know. You find things you would just never expect.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with all literally all of my clients, I'm always moving them towards being switches. Like, I am so biased in this area because of my own experience. I mean, I just see it all the time that when people are staunch, like white knuckle, I'm submissive, please let me be submissive. Usually there's something about intentional dominance that is like profoundly healing for them. And it's the same thing. I'm dominant, like just let me be dominant. Then submission is where the true healing lies. And even if that might not be where your arousal lies, because again, our bodies move forth before we do. Like, right? Like, that's what's so cool about kink is you get to discover all of these things that your body's turned on by, but your mind is like fucking like so surprised. Like, whoa, I did not know that I'm aroused by that. That's generally how kink started with for all of us. Like, what we see a picture, we see an experience, we see a teacher, and we're like, whoa, I guess I'm aroused by this. Our minds have very little do with it. Um, and so yeah, being a switch, the opposite side of the slash, wherever you are, um, might not be where your body immediately gets that zing of arousal, but there's some type of profound gold there for you that is going to help you balance out your life if when you do it with intention and discovery and curiosity, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. And it can open up new things into the kind of like Brian, for your wife is like not really interested in doming you, but she if you tried the other direction first, there may be something that opens up and go, oh wait, no, actually I would like to try something bigger.
Yeah.
Total big fan of the airplane game.
Yeah, Brian S says, "My daughter actually loves being juggled, many games in
Just
the
no
airplane."
dropping. Okay,
Yeah.
no dropping. That's all.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so we are probably gonna start wrapping it up soon, a little bit early. So if there are any last questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we are gonna say adieu and meet you next week at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next Kinky Office Hours. Also, I do want to let you know that this Friday, I will be launching the first episode of my podcast, Soul Kink Therapy. On this podcast each week, okay, I'm going to actually just like, bye, Jeff. On this podcast each week, I bring on a new kinky guest and we go in to their kinks, their fetishes, their desires, their patterns to create a deep opening, all in the name of liberation, of their path on liberation. So it's pretty juicy. My first guest is a crossdresser in the UK, Jenny Raven, who is a literotica author who has quite the following. So yeah, so stay tuned. There's going to be every week there's going to be a new episode with a kinky guest, and also I'm taking applications for folks if you want to be a kinky guest as well. All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye everyone.